Hello everyone, I'm Maylinaty from Indian University in Taiwan. I'm here presenting the study on vernacular housing types in Kalimantan, Indonesia. Today's presentation is presented in following orders. Before jumping deep into the research, I would like to introduce some background that established this research. The true meaning in globalization is about increasing interrelation experience. Many have been gradually losing one's own culture identity due to globalization. Jakarta, as the capital city of Indonesia, is no different. Local culture here has become a sightseeing spot rather than a part of their life. In 2019, capital city is announced to be moved to Kalimantan in Borneo Island. One of the criteria is to ensure the local culture. With that criteria in mind, the purpose of this study is to find housing standards that reflects cultural identity in the local area, sustainably adapt to the city that keeps changing along with modernization. For that, we analyzed the vernacular housing in Kalimantan, specifically the Dayak ethnic. Dayak is considered as the main ethnic in Kalimantan, as they have lived in the island from the 20th century before Christ, acting as the indigenous group in the island. Their housing is called Betang, or also known as Borneo Longhouse. Just like the name, it is a house in a longitudinal shape and built on stilts. The vernacular houses will be analyzed based on their spatial structure and elevation proportion to learn the value of people and learn how the house develops based on the environment and climates. The results of the analysis will then be considered as housing design standards. For this study, we have 5 cases coming from 4 different areas, which is the east, south, west of Kalimantan and central Kalimantan. For this, first is the analysis of the spatial form structure. The vernacular houses usually consist of 3 parts: the foyer, shared, and private spaces. The way the spaces are connected construct different formation. Lamin, Eheng, and Radang Saham have the same form, thus obtaining the total of 4 forms. The complicated form is broken into FS and SP relation for better analysis. For FS relation, the form is constant. Every type has the same basic form rules for the FS relation. As for the SP relation, each type has its own unique form. These complicated forms can be constructed by adding some of these rules. For better understanding, the SP forms are being segmented to emerge the basic form. This segmentation will be the one that determines types of form structure of these cases. Notice that on the second case, the pattern is different from the third and the fourth cases. The second is mainly structured by horizontal basic form with addition of vertical unit, while the others are the opposite. They mainly have vertical basic form with addition of horizontal units. Putting back all together, we have obtained 3 different types of form structure. The basic type, which has the simplest form. For type A, the main point is to have horizontal basic type with addition of vertical units. As for type B, the SP form is based on the third and the fourth formation, which has a vertical form with horizontal units. Thus, the third and the fourth could be defined as the subtype of B. Next is the comparison between the vernacular with modern. Manila Village and Gunung Mas region is the location for Balai Padang and Betang Toyoy, which is the case study that we have been discussing so far. The cases of the modern houses are located near these 2 cases. We could see that the modern house in Balai Padang area is similar to the formation of the vernacular house, while the town square area has different forms between the vernacular and the modern one. But we can see that the both modern houses are similar to Balai Padang, which is the type A. Thus, both modern houses are considered as subtype A1 and 2. From next is the analyzation for the facade. From the view of the elevation, the house is divided into 3 sections. In this study, the stilt is symbolized as H1, H2 for the body, and H3 for the roof. In the beliefs of Dayak ethnic, house reflects to the 3 realm, namely the upper realm, which is the roof part, and the middle realm where the people interact with each other, and the lower realm, which is meant for animals. The height of stilts are mostly affected by the distance between house and river, that is represented as L. When the distance becomes larger, the height of stilts will be shorter. Hence, the relation of L and H1 has inverse proportion. But each one has a minimum height. Notice that from the first to the third case, no matter how far the river locates, the height of stilts is only as low as 2 meters, which is equivalent to a person's height. Moving on for the height of body. It is the space where the daily activities take place. This is why the height of body is usually affected by person's height. The standard height of the space for a person to stand is between 2 to 3 meters. Thus, the height of body of each cases run along the 2 to 3 meters, run along between 2 to 3 meters. Considering the height of roof, the study doesn't show any relation. We know that the slanted roof is to help airflow, block excessive heat, and others more, but the measurement itself doesn't seem to relate to the climates nor other part of the house. Lastly is the analysis on the openings. There are 3 kinds of openings: the door, window, and transom window. The red dot on the floor plan represents the position of the window. Notice that housings that have transom window has few to no window at all. If look at the year of the house being built, in the year of 1800s, the size of openings become larger as time goes by. Up until the year of 1900s, the door size become more constant and follows the standard of width of the door, which is 90 centimeters. So coming to the end of the presentation, the conclusion of this study. Regarding the spatial form structure, although the form of each housing is distinctive from each other, some form structure is similar and grouped into type A and type B, with each have their variations, which is the subtypes. These types could be the guide for the future spatial planning. For the elevation proportions, the standards that can be used is the height of stilts, or H1, and the height of body, the H2. If interpreted, it could be the height of ground floor or space height of the living area. Finally, the measurement of openings could become the standards that controls the proportion of the facade. In conclusion, these analyzed standards, the structure, the proportion, and the measurements could become the basic standards for future social housing in the new capital. Thank you for the attention towards this presentation.